Good morning. Thank you, Chair Satori, Madam Hermida, members of the Human Rights Subcommittee, ladies and gentlemen, a special envoy for Afghanistan. It's a pleasure to be in this Parliament before you twice this week. This created already a rainbow of hope among the voiceless people of my country, that European Parliament, among the competing agendas that is occupying our work, you still focus on something that we regard as an open wound on the case of Afghanistan. Speaking about Afghanistan, for 5 decades, my defenseless people have been victims of wrong politics of the regional countries and the global community. We have continued to pay the price time and again, not only the human losses, but we had to start from scratch every time. 20 years ago, when changes occurred in Afghanistan, I took it for granted. For a while, I breathed fresh air, and I thought this is going to be the end of it. I don't need to talk about girls' education. I don't need to talk about women's rights anymore. When I was sitting in the Parliament with the members of Parliament wearing turban, ties, representing diversity of Afghanistan, I thought this is it. We are on the right path. I'm not going to talk about women's rights, and I don't need to struggle about it anymore. But 20 years later, our dreams, our aspirations for a better Afghanistan were shattered. Millions of women in Afghanistan are living in a style of house arrest. As the Taliban first came to power, they launched their war against women. Despite their promise during negotiation that they will respect women's rights, they said it on the record to me and to my other fellow negotiators, that women, from their perspective, like any other Muslim country, can go to school, university, work, including in the government. They were probably playing with us to get to power, to get their Doha agreement signed that will pave the way for their return to power. As soon as they got to power, they started by women depriving girls from going to school. Now, in 2 days, the education school in Afghanistan will start. 21st March is the beginning of education school in Afghanistan, education year. It's 5 years that girls and women in Afghanistan do not go to university or schools. Millions of women are not anymore allowed to go to jobs. They're stripped from their fundamental rights. As a result of that, it affects and impacts women's mental health, women's health, the country's economy. My concern is that in 1 or 2 years, our health system will be completely disrupted because of the fact that women are not allowed to become doctors and nurses. This is unlike any other Muslim country. The same country, Qatar, that provided office for Taliban, have more females in schools and education than male. The Taliban self-proclaimed definition of Islam is taking Afghanistan to Stone Age. And this is not going to remain in Afghanistan. For 5 years, we have been raising our voice, saying that Afghanistan once again will be the safe haven for violent extremism. And today, yet again, my people are dragged into a war that is not their war. Civilian casualties happen in Afghanistan today because of wrong politics of Taliban. And neighboring countries are using, or rather misusing, the gap of a legitimate government to attack the civilian and public places. If there was a legitimate government, would our neighboring countries, mainly Pakistan, dare to do so? I doubt it. So today it's Pakistan and the conflict in Afghanistan. Tomorrow it can be anywhere, any place. The Taliban are not honest in their promise that they are going to fight violent extremism. In fact, the only fight they will do is the fight against women. They're scared that an educated woman will not allow her son to pick up a gun. An educated woman will rather encourage her son to pick up a pen or her daughter to pick up a pen and fight through a civilian way to pursue her or his political dreams. But the Taliban want everybody to be as radicalized as they are. They have started to create thousands of madrasas in Afghanistan. And my concern is that in 5 years' time, if the situation does not change, you will have a whole population of the people in Afghanistan, especially girls, that they will believe the same way as the Taliban believe, embracing suicide killing. So we have a global responsibility. You have a global responsibility because Europe, among all the challenging and competing crazy agendas in the world, is still the continent that people look towards as a continent that still is there to protect international justice, a continent that is there to protect institutions that are there to protect the voiceless. Europe is regarded as a continent that you are there to ensure that voiceless are heard, that suppressed are empowered, that enabling environment is given to those who are suppressed by dictators. No other country in the world is suffering to the extent that women and girls in Afghanistan and even men are suffering. Not only by wars, but by the wrong policies of the one that are ruling them. And this continues. Since the Taliban take over, they have issued 262 edicts. And can you imagine, 121 more than that is only targeting women. Rights, freedom, liberty. Outfit, the way they speak, the volume of their voice, the way they wear clothes, to the extent that as the chairperson of the delegation of Afghanistan said, in the penal code procedure, they have given the male of the family the power, the man of the family the power to punish a woman. So basically the oppressors are now given the power to punish. And in the recent law, they have also given more rights to animals than comparing to a woman. Well, it's good that at least more rights are given to animals. But can you believe it for a second? Can you put yourself in the place of women and girls in Afghanistan for a second? You wake up in the morning. You're not allowed to get out of your homes. You're not allowed to work. Your space is only in the kitchen. And when you get, the girls tell me in Afghanistan, when we get out of our homes, the Taliban soldiers look at us as if we are criminals. Their eyes tell us that you are not supposed to go to university. You are not supposed to go to work. You're not supposed to go to school. So why are you even out on the street? Why do you exist? The Taliban question the very existence of women as gender, as human being. And they are being emboldened by the world. Sometimes when I'm being asked that, what do you want? I don't want NATO to bomb Afghanistan anymore. I don't want American B-56 to bomb my country because you did it and it didn't result. I want you to not embolden Taliban. And then we will find our way. I want you to put conditions, principles on the way you engage with Taliban. I know these days so many domestic issues occupy internal elections, internal agendas in European Parliament or in domestic countries' territorial parliaments. Issues like migrants. Shall we deport Afghan refugees back to Afghanistan? And under that pretext, there are engagement with the Taliban. Under your security, protect security, you engage with the Taliban. You find reasons to engage with the Taliban. I wonder how many times when your diplomats meet the Taliban, the issue of women and human rights, which is a principle that we all feel ourselves abandoned to, feel that we are there to protect it, especially Europe, how many times they put women's rights as the first agenda to discuss. Many countries put Afghanistan under sanction, not because women's rights are violated, just because their own citizens are being abducted by Taliban. Recently, for instance, the United States put Afghanistan, not even the Taliban, my country. Anything that the Taliban do wrong, it's affiliated with my country. As a country that sponsors and favors abduction and hostages. For 3 citizens of United States. Can you imagine 18 million plus women are abducted and under house arrest by the Taliban, and we think it's normal. We should not normalize apartheid. Because especially I call on you, women, my sisters, and also the men, because I know you are here, you believe in equality, you believe in better life for everybody. I call on you. Let's not normalize, because they're using women as a weapon for their negotiation. And they feel emboldened because nobody holds them accountable. So we must hold them accountable. I'm grateful for the European Union that they recently, in October last year, sponsored the investigative mechanism for Afghanistan. These measures are important. I'm grateful to European Union and many member states for referring Afghanistan case to ICC and ICJ. We need to expedite ICJ because Netherlands expressed intention. You know, probably you will say these measures are limited to European capitals. They might not make a big difference in Afghanistan. Trust me, they will. When the ICC issued arrest warrant against 2 Taliban leaders, women in Afghanistan were calling me and they were cheering that. We must use these institutions because they are there to protect us. In the meantime, we must continue to support our people, my brothers and sisters in Afghanistan through humanitarian aid. Afghanistan is a rich country of poor people. My heart breaks when I ask for humanitarian aid. But Taliban have a good division of labor. They want the international community to feed the people of Afghanistan, and they collect the revenue to pay for their soldiers and their intelligence to suppress further the people. So your responsibility is to feed the people of Afghanistan. But in the meantime, let's all of us work towards changing the political ecosystem. We need solidarity, your solidarity for that. I thank you.